Welcome to the squad. I am your host, Jerome. Today we have Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu. I have my co host, Ken, as well as our guest, Dom, here to talk about it today. And Ken, you'll start us off. And between the two of you, I need you guys to talk me off the cliff that is this franchise, that is this movie. Please go ahead, Ken, get us started.
Yeah, I see we're gonna have a lot of work to do, but I I think we can get some good points across though. So like for me, I had fun. Um, this was marketed as a very family friendly Star Wars movie, and I thought that's exactly
Hmm.
what it was. Was there much character development? No, but I think the action was great, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the movie never. And again, it's very much like a Saturday morning cartoon. The movie never goes too long without giving you really cool action. So I mean, I had a good time. As far as
Yeah.
like the positives, Ludwig's score. Josh, you and I have like talked about this before, but his score made the movie feel big. Now, of course, like we watched the show on the small
Hmm.
screen, but Ludwig's score never let it feel small for me. So I honestly would put him as in his score as like the big highlight. Grogu's a moneymaker. You can't deny, revenue and what the numbers are. So he just is what
Hmm.
he is. I thought the puppetry
Yes.
though was really good. Because the
Yeah.
puppetry was so good, we were able to, not have to do like a CGI Grogu, which I think would have taken us out of some of those good scenes.
Yeah.
I thought the snake dragon was really cool, and then in Bo, I
Chamber
thought
of
Inbo,
Secrets.
right?
Yes, sir.
Chambers. But I thought Embo was really cool. Like,
Hmm.
before I get into my negative, I thought he worked well as an antagonist because, and again, like the plot isn't too much in this movie, but it's funny because Sigourney's character, yes, I know her name, but I'm gonna call her Sigourney. But like, she was consistent or constantly telling Mando, like, "Hey, we need
Yeah.
you to not be as messy. Like, we're paying you to be a bounty hunter, not a superhero." Because like the movie opens with Mandalorian doing superhero esque stuff with Ludwig's
Yeah.
score playing in the background,
Yeah.
but like, you're not bringing people back alive, you're just being extra, like. And so like Enbo, like I love Enbo's introduction, whereas pulls up on him at night, it's not like a whole lot going on, like brings him in alive and gets paid for it. That is what a bounty hunter is supposed to be. So it's just really cool getting to see the differences. Far as negatives, I thought the Huts as a primary antagonist didn't really work for me. I think that's the only thing that was missing from the movie, whereas I just didn't feel like a strong antagonistic force going against Mando. And again, like I
Hmm.
know the Huts carry like lore and like legacy. And I liked Rada. I thought Rada was very well done. I thought he worked
Hmm.
really well with Grogu and Mando, but I just don't think the Huts were necessarily able to feel that fill that void of like the
Yeah.
antagonistic force. So I thought it ended up just being Mandalorian just stomping out everything in front of him until he got to Henbo, and then
Hmm.
that was basically it. But honestly, all in all, I had a great time. It was a fun time in the movies. I'd give it a 7.
Okay. Appreciate it. Tom, on over to you.
All right. Right off the top, I'm just going to say I absolutely loved this movie. For not seeing a
I'm so
single
happy you enjoyed it. Yeah.
lightsaber, which is like
Yeah.
my favorite thing about Star Wars, I thought this movie had some of the best action in Star Wars history, hands down. Like Ken was saying, another great action scene was always just right around the corner. Didn't have to wait long for it, and it delivered every time. Every action scene, every chase scene, every aerial dogfight, they were all just so well done, with no negatives for me. I mean, just really good. Another banger for the Filoni and Favreau universe. It was some of their best work yet. Up there for me with like Rogue One in terms of overall great movies in Star Wars. It didn't seem to lean, and the good thing was is it didn't need to lean on any crazy cameos for it to be so amazing, because this
Respect
was
that.
in a
Yeah.
period of time where you could have had anybody from the original trilogy show up and make a cameo or a cheap pop, and they could have leaned into that, and they didn't, and it was amazing without that stuff. So Was really happy about that. Moving on to the opening scenes, the way the movie starts, just love that slow reveal of the Mandalorian, how they, he's kind of in the shadows and in the smoke, and then they finally bring him on screen, and it just, you could see how terrified everyone in that shadow council was of him. And the whole movie, I just love how stoic and calculated Mando was. Everything he does, has a purpose, and he doesn't move that fast all the time, but he's very calculated and thorough, and just kind of seemed to play the whole movie. He's very good at what he does. Good with any weapon they put in his hands, especially his blasters, and the way he uses his flamethrower so effectively.
Yes. Flamethrowers in the beginning, the doorway.
In the doorway, that's just that was really good to outsmart those guys. And then honestly, probably for me, one of the greatest moments in Star Wars history was Mando taking down 3 of the AT-ATs in the opening sequence. Like, are you serious? By himself? Like, what a way to start that film. And then we got that amazing one shot inside the AT-AT, which I don't think we've ever been inside the AT-AT in Star Wars history. So just like really strong opener, like really cool. My favorite scene from the movie is definitely going to be the arena fights between Mando and Rada, and then when they team up against all those other killer creatures. Just incredible. Really Thor Ragnarok vibes, like just same
Stranger
kind of
Things
battle
rejects.
arena.
Yes, sir.
My daughter and I, we went to see it together, and we had a blast during that scene. We were obnoxiously loud, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
And I just love the design of all those creatures too. Star Wars does a really good job of making their monsters and their creatures look really well and detailed, and the CGI on them is really good. Like the dragon snake in the third act was really phenomenal too. And I just like how Mando called another cool detail about that scene is how Mando called it the Dejeric match, which of course references the Hollow Battle chess game that they play on the Millennium Falcon. And then all of the like monsters kind of look like they're from that game, and then they're battling on the like arena floor that looks like a chessboard. Just thought that kind of whole tie-in just made that scene even that much cooler for me. The way that they could kind of retcon that in, I thought that was really cool. And Rada was really cool. I really liked his character, a really strong side character. Shout out Jeremy Allen White, one of my favorite actors, played him real well.
Yeah.
And he's just so relatable for a Hutt, because the Hutts are never really that relatable in all of Star Wars lore. The fact that he didn't want to follow in his father's footsteps, he wanted to be his own Hutt and, be a kind person, a good person. I just really like that. Another great side character was Zeb. Zeb had some dope moments when he was kind of wielding that electro staff in the mansion battle fight scenes. Always good to see Zeb. He was always there when you needed him for extraction. Thought he was a good kind of sidekick for him and Mando, and to help each other out. And I know a lot of people like Zeb from the Rebels days, so really cool seeing him in live action. He looked really good too with the CGI and everything. Another pro for me was definitely Embo. Like Ken said, Embo was dope. His scenes where he outsmarts Mando and catches him in the shock trap was great. And then that little kind of still shot we got when he calls in the ship after to like pick him up, and the lighting comes in from behind him. He just looks like a god. That was a really cool, really cool, one shot there. And then his 1v1 versus Mando in the third act in the Hutt's palace was so good. Like peak, Star Wars 1v1 battling. It almost felt like a lightsaber battle to me. Like the hype between a Jedi versus Sith battle was there for me in that final third act battle between him and Mando. So they got that character really, really good. I was happy that he was able to escape. Hopefully we get more Embo in the future. Glad to see they didn't just kill him off. The last character I'll touch on in this movie is our sweet Prince Grogu. I thought his force abilities were well timed. They were used properly. Didn't think it was overdone. Saving Mando's life was huge. Force rising Rada out of that hole, that's a big feat.
Man's got
Grogu's
some big
coming.
arms. It's a lot.
Yeah, Grogu lifted a lot of weight there, so that was cool. His little suit up moment when he was like, "All right, well, we got to go
Yeah,
save
it's cute.
Mando," and him and the
It's cute.
Fricks are getting in the ship to go save Mando. I just love that little suit up moment. It was awesome. He could be his character in the Fricks can be a little campy, but the campiness, like, it works. It feels like so nostalgic
It
Star
does.
Wars, and it's good comedic relief, and it's funny. I was laughing, it was really well done. Like I said, for me, I would probably say the only real con I have about the whole movie was just how contained the story was, kind of like how Ken was saying. The plot's not complicated. The characters aren't, they aren't, there isn't a huge development story on them, but it's also a contained story, which it works for general audiences for sure. But it doesn't really like bridge the gap to the next season of Ahsoka or what's coming next. It's kind of a very contained story. It doesn't really play to the diehard that much, but it was still incredible. It's a very small thing. It's not like renting space in my head. If I had to come up with one con, that's really the only thing I would say about it.
I respect that. I respect it.
I would give it a very solid 9.22. I had so much fun watching it. You have to see this in IMAX. It makes the score just go up so much more. Everything is visually stunning. All of the planets, the landscapes, the backdrops, it's all just so good. The sound mixing was great in IMAX. You just really feel like you're in those battle scenes. You got to go see it in IMAX for sure. I can't recommend more. I will end my time on this. Seeing it with my daughter was special because it really is like a father-child movie at the end of the day. And
I can respect that. Yeah.
The old take care of the young, and the young take care of the old. This is the way.
I respect that, Don. Wow. I got to follow that. I'm going to garner all the hate. I do appreciate it. And I want to start off by saying that I do care about the Star Wars universe. So I think I take things to the next level, and maybe this is just an internal problem for myself. I'll start off with some of the cons, but then I'll get into the pros to show that as much as I proclaim myself to be a Star Wars hater, I'm not saying that that's what I look for. I feel like I just have a deeper, not appreciation, because that's just like I sound like an idiot saying that, but I think about who these characters are before they are brought back in front of me, because this is over the course of 30, 40 years of understanding this universe. And I understand the regard that these characters and these stories carry with so many people from our generation, from the previous generation, and stuff like that. So my question is, just for you guys, really quick, like, who is Yoda to you? What does he resemble? What does Yoda resemble to you? Just one word.
Wise.
Any words that pops up. Wise, mentor, anything else, Ken? Any other understandings of what Yoda means to you? Who is Yoda?
To me personally, or to the Star Wars?
However you want to interpret it.
Monumental to the lore.
Monumental, yes. Wise, mentor. And that's what I carry him as. So I feel like you have that symbol there. But then when Grogu comes out, he gets, like, his species gets turned into a baby chihuahua. And the reason why it hits so much for everybody is because it's low hanging fruit. The amount of times I heard other people in my theater like, "Aw," to like the different things Grogu was doing, it's such an easy cop out for me. And even though I feel the same way, he's cute. Like you said, the puppetry is amazing. They're doing good jobs of that. I feel like who Yoda is, and to take his character and his species and what I've anointed to his species in terms of what it means to fiction, to turn that into Grogu is
but he is a baby.
It hurts like, that side
Yoda's,
of me.
Yoda's
True,
500
100%.
years older, so I think you
Yes.
got to give Grogu time to get there.
100%. I think you could do that. I just feel like they're taking Yoda and they turn him into that, right? In terms of they take what our positive association with Yoda, and then they just undercut it by giving us this instead of something that could be more in that same area. And I'll get into why that's important. Um, so actually, to go off of that into a pro, my favorite characters were the gnome, pug, chop shop mechanics that drove around in the Jetsons vehicle. I love those guys. Those guys were great. And I feel like they can check the same box in the universe for the awes, the coos out of the crowd, the wholesomeness, without necessarily having to attach that to what I feel like is undercutting Yoda and his species, and just turning that into the low-hanging fruit of a wholesome and very family-friendly character. I think you can do that without having to attach it to the association of Yoda, just in my opinion. Then you go like that, and then another example of this is Rada the Hulk. Um, I feel like Jabba carries this, like, right, as an underground crime lord, and this extends to the twins too. Is that there's an association I have with him, and being a crime lord, being like very impactful of what he did to Leia and his character within the Star Wars universe. That, like, now we're trying to put a spin on it where you have his son who um like comes in and he's a good guy, uh and his aunt and uncle are very, like, they're supposed to carry that, they're like, once again we're associating it with Jabba, and they get taken out by like a mini squadron. Their entire base and stuff gets taken out, and I feel like that undercuts what Jabba means to the universe of Star Wars. But that could be just me.
But Jabba got
um
killed by Leia.
yeah, I guess it's just what that kind of goes into, like, it's something that sits with me in terms of who Jabba is and how we're reframing it now with the characters after them.
They're
Same
completely
thing with like
different
Vader.
characters, though. Like I
Yeah.
don't know. I think you
Well,
have a
the aunt and
unique look
uncle
at it
are.
for sure.
Uh-huh.
But just like with like Grogu and like Yoda, they're kind of like two different characters that are 500 years apart, and the Huts are two different characters. They we don't have to compare them, but that's just
Well, I'm just
my
saying, but
thought.
that's what Star Wars is trying to do when you give us a baby version of Yoda. Is
No, they're
like
not. They're not
we
trying to compare them. They're
well,
they're
they're taking the positive association that we have with Yoda and they're changing it,
I don't think so. I
or
just
else
think
you
it's
don't make it
it's
that.
another race. Like when you see two humans in Star Wars, do you compare them? Do you associate them as being the same, or comparing them to older previous versions?
Yeah, I think so.
Uh,
I
I
think that I think
I think
that
it's
you're
a
just,
weird
but
thing.
I feel like you're just we're getting played off of that, off of positive association with this, and then it's getting undercut by low hanging fruit in terms of like a little baby character. Now,
It's a
the one
unique
thing I didn't
take.
think
I'll give
about
you that. I'll let you
to you
continue.
guys is to your guys' point, like the puppetry and stuff. I'm not even thinking about that, even though I know it's a puppet on screen and not CGI. So that stuff is amazing, and I feel the same way in terms of um, how he comes across to the audience, the oohs and ahs of Grogu. I just feel like we don't have to. We can do that with separate characters that aren't connected to the same species that Yoda comes from.
But if he's
But
not the
anyway,
same
so
species, if he's not the same species as Yoda, then I don't think he has nearly the amount of
you have to build him up
culture
better. You have to
because
build them up better. That's what
yeah,
I'm
but
saying.
I think the
You know what
ceiling's
I'm saying?
lower. I mean, I'd say the ceiling's lower though if it's not from Yoda's, if it's not Yoda's species. I mean, like you said, I think like they took everything that we knew about Yoda,
Hmm.
and kind of built off that and carried on that momentum. Like, because I'm not the biggest Grogu fan, but the amount, like the revenue that Grogu brings in, so the amount of mass appeal,
That from
like
that perspective, yes.
you would have to deem him a success. Like even though, like I said, I'm not, you or I are both aren't as into it. They must have done it right for him to have that much of an impact across the
Hmm.
planet.
Yeah, no, I mean I get it, but I'm saying that's why it's low hanging fruit.
But I
Now,
don't
if you're
think
going to make that
anything.
associate, I think you're ruining Yoda's image.
But why does every species have to be the same? Why can't we
Well, I'm
have
just saying, like
variant?
in the Star Wars universe, Yoda means this, but now there's something else there.
But we don't
Like,
have to look
go
at
ahead,
it
it's
that
fine.
way. Yoda is
It's
one
fine.
thing, Grogu's another. I don't know. That's you're entitled to your opinion, of course. That's just my thought
I'm
on it.
just saying, but when you introduce Grogu as the first character after, well, maybe not the first, but as the standout character after Yoda that comes from the same species, you're asking us, you're putting those two things out there.
I mean,
It's not my fault.
I don't associate them. There are probably type A people and type B people. I guess I'm a type A person who doesn't associate them, treats them as two separate entities, but that's just me, I guess.
Okay, no, I get it. I get it. But to move on, um, I think so. There's like certain things in terms of like the Chamber of Secrets snake. The way that he swallows such massive monsters that are the aunt and uncle of the Huts so quickly, yet Mando gets swung around for like 30 seconds and leaves like just a little bite mark on his side that a spider could have made. Maybe not a spider, but like those types of things for me, like bring me out of the experience that there's so much more you could do there. And you're kind of setting yourself up for misunderstandings when those two things are like put next to each other, like scene for scene. Um, I thought the way so I do feel like one of the positives is 100% the choreography for the fight scenes for Mando is awesome. Um, I just feel like you set him up as such a badass when he's going through these different fight scenes with all the inside the bar, inside the AT-ATs, all that stuff. So then when Embo comes in, and it's funny, Ken, you say like he kind of like went about his bounty hunter stuff in terms of just gets the job done. He flashbangs him and takes him out right there and runs away. I thought that was so dramatic. It was so funny that like he literally like you see his screen, his flash, and yet his first instinct is to run out because he had set up the electric trap. And so when Mando comes out, and after all the scenes of him being a badass, to just get take like he knows he's coming. He closed the shutters like a twister was coming. Um, like a yeah, like a twister's coming. And then he comes out and he just gets immediately shocked and dropped down. It undercuts like how dope he's been for the majority of the movie to taken out that easily.
But I mean,
Like to
like, can
me,
you make the
that
argument?
juxtaposition of those two. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, can you make the argument though that like he got caught, in his place of comfort, like sleeping at night, whereas all the other action scenes are him battle ready, ready to
Well,
attack.
he's
Whereas
got
like
prep there
Embo,
too. He sees them coming.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like, but he has best guard armor though, so I mean, he's hard to really. It's hard to really physically take him out, but like here, Embo, of course, like has done his homework, and set him up to get into the electricity trap. So I was
Trap,
actually
yeah.
able to get past like the armor, which I felt like worked for Embo's scheming, but it didn't bother
I don't
me.
know. Prep. He has at
It
least
doesn't bother
11
me
different
either. I think it's good
abilities.
to
I
give
respect it.
Embo a win, to
That's
elevate
fine. I'm
Embo a
just saying
little
you
bit.
can write, you can see it where it doesn't make the Mandalorian after all the dope shit he's done to just get taken out like such a bitch. Like he's one of the stormtroopers
But to
in
be
this
taken
scene. Like
out by like an
that's the type of trap he's
outsmarted
falling
move,
into.
he just got outsmarted. That's okay. I wouldn't necessarily like class, the Mandalorian as like the smartest tactician in the world. So I'm okay with it.
Well,
It
Mhm.
and
didn't
because
bother
like when
me.
and
Go
when
ahead.
they fought at the end, like no tricks, like no traps,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
man to man, like Mando dominated him.
And it gave
I
that
think
fight
like
more stakes.
yeah, you're right. Yes, yeah, yeah. I mean, like I think situations and settings matter too, and both set him up. Like, but I see where you're coming from.
I don't know. I mean, we really have to see like what he had available then versus coming out like in terms of preparation, in terms of the amount of time before they show up. Like I feel like those scenes, I don't know. I just feel like he's the way that he is able to go about the other fight scenes and respond and react to many people different around him to see him get flashbanged and then just run straight into a trap is
Well,
just like lazy.
but I think but like I said, I think an important thing to note is he has that indestructible
Mhm.
armor. So he's able to really like run into a lot of situations and counter and like basically run through because he can't physically be stopped. But here, like I said,
Mhm.
like this was different where like they used electricity on him. Because had like Embo just jumped him, they would have just started fighting, and Mando eventually would have won out because of the armor. Now he does have a lot of other important skills that allow him to win these 1v1s in situations, but the Besguard armor is like a big part of why he's winning, and Enbo
Yeah.
got
Okay.
around that. But that's
I
just
hear
my
you.
thing.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Like I said, I am like I come at it from a different view, so totally understandable, and I respect your guys like sharing that with me because I'm still trying to build. Listening to you builds my understanding of what I'm seeing because I come from also a unique perspective of not having gone through the Mandalorian TV series, so this is my first exposure to who he is, and like yeah, his outfit and stuff is awesome. So this kind of leads me to my biggest gripe is that the Mandalorian as a character like is so monotone that like it's very tough to have a character like that with a mask on the entire time and the fact that his like that Pedro Pascal is like forced to because this isn't on him but the character is forced to have this monotonous tone that there's no complexity there to really go off. There's no facial expressions, where which is what Grogu kind of jumps in for as a change in emotion, where you're not going to get that from Mandalorian as a character, and that's not on Pedro Pascal. That's on the character, and I think that's really tough to get across because it could be anyone behind the armor. Um,
That's where
well, I'm
not seeing the
sure.
TV shows hurts you because you get some of that in the TV shows. So
I know, but
that'll hurt you.
characters that are on screen have emotion. So whether it's from the TV series or the one movie, like it's the movie.
The
So that
stakes the
character within
stakes
the
are a little bit
movie,
higher in the TV show though. This is kind of more of a simplified have a good time movie, but I see what you're saying.
why does it have to be simplified?
Because we
What?
have to
But that's what
appeal
I'm saying.
to a
The
general
character.
audience. This is not for the diehards. This is for the general audience, the children, the families. That's just kind of how
So
the movie's playing.
are you a general or are you a diehard?
Well, I'm a diehard,
Um,
but I'm gonna
as
see
a
it no matter
with a
what. So
9.22, I respect it.
So
yeah,
like in
because
like
I loved it.
I
I've
side with
seen that
Dom.
before on the TV shows. I don't need to see it all the
Hmm.
time. I don't need like crazy character developments all the time. It's a very little
I respect
like
it.
if the action is good and steady, like that's what I care about. Like, and they delivered. So like that's why it's so high for
Hmm.
me.
I tend
I
to
hear
side
you.
with
I hear
Dom.
you.
I tend to side with Dom on that too because
That's no problem.
well, in Jerome, I think you're actually closer to us than the casual moviegoer. But like you get different aspects of Star Wars. You get Mandalorian and Grogu, you get Maul, you get Andor, you get Skeleton Crew. Whereas like Dom and I and you too, like we watch all of it. So I'm able to get my Star Wars satisfaction far as like that type of fulfillment in other areas.
Mhm.
So I can come to this movie, like Dom said, and just enjoy what the casuals enjoy. Just like good action, just a very steady, easygoing plot. Whereas like I don't need like that fulfillment because we just got like some good stuff in Maul. But and also like one more thing,
Yeah,
Josh, too,
Maul
because
comes. Yeah,
I think
hits my
I think
diehard
you bring
side.
up
Yeah.
because Josh, I think you actually bring up a good point. Whereas how can you connect to this main character if you can never ever see his face? And I think it really just speaks to the integrity of his religion, whereas like that's what he is, like a religious zealot. Like it's not about him. And I think like if the action is good enough,
Mm,
Grogu's good
I
enough,
hear
and
you.
all
Yeah,
the
that
other
builds into yeah. That
non-human
if that's
characters,
yeah.
yeah, like
Hmm.
if those
That's a
characters
good
like
point.
work, like I think you can honor like his religion because when you start showing his face, which to Dom's point, they did in the TV show, and like we watched it, so we got that
Yeah,
out of the
yeah.
TV show. Like it, I think it can take away. Like at the end of the day, like he is a Mandalorian. He's about his creed and his religion. Like even when Grogu saves him, his response is to still start speaking his zealot stuff. Like the this protects this and all this and that.
Yeah,
But
old
like
and young,
that's
young and old.
kind of how he is. So, but I think it's a great discussion.
He told everybody in that room that they saw his face. Now they all have to die, and there are no ifs or buts about it. Like this man is cold, dude. I'm telling you.
It was
No,
cold.
man. I mean, no. I mean, like that intro fight scene is incredible. Like the slow mo, that flamethrower to either side of the door, and like the way he commands presence there is incredible. I just yeah. And then
What
like
was he
yeah, the
paid
last
to
fight
do?
scene with Embo is awesome. He was paid to capture the guy and not kill him. He's like, yeah, it's like one or the other. One or the other. You could take that. You could take that card out. Take that Joker card out and play. Let's play a game of cards. I never played with that Joker anyways. Um, but no, and like the choreography, yeah, like yeah, I'll go back just to rehash. Like the choreography and the fight scene is like really good. I have to like obviously look past the 1 million blaster shots that are missed on everything that isn't a main character. But we know that. So I know that's maybe just a little bit of a grunt on my side. And then to your point, Ken, I feel like the one of the best things about this was the soundtrack, or not necessarily the soundtrack, the score. When we're flying into the moon on Sakari,
Oh yeah.
I wanted to drop some bars on that beat. So like I respect them because I'm not expecting a rap beat to come out of Star Wars. So I
Yeah,
think
it was like a techno
there's
beat. It was pretty
some
sick. Yeah,
Fire.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
it was
yeah.
very good. And while I wasn't super connected to when Mandalorian is knocked out and like they're supposed to I feel like you're supposed to think, oh, is he gonna die or not? I had no connection to that. The theme that they played was very calming, something you can meditate on. And I think that carried very well throughout the scenes with Grogu, to add to the emotion of that. Um, so yeah, my standout scene, I think first and foremost is like the intro scene, like Dom had talked about. So to step beyond that, I think when Rada like calls Grogu in and like feeds him, that show is hilarious. It's like everything. I
That's
thought it
pretty
was
funny.
super wholesome. And
Yeah,
when I take back some of my other things on how I'm viewing it and I'm taking it for what it is, and how I could like internalize that. It was super sweet. So I totally see why there's that connection, that like why Grogu is so big to the Star Wars fandom. Why like someone like Rada, it is cool. Maybe like if I'm withdrawing who Jabba is and stuff like that, seeing him wanting to be his own person within this franchise, within Star Wars, and his interactions and how he's like like just a decent dude at the end of the day. Like I can respect that. So for me, my total score, I know I'm just like talking about that, was unfortunately like a 5 out of 10 because I feel like it's tough. It's tough of yeah, just everything we talked about. I need to like rehash all of it, but um, I'm listening to you guys and it's building my perspective, and I think that's like it's super important for all of us like to have these discussions where we're necessarily battling each other. And then the important piece is when you're hearing things that make sense, you're not continuously still grounded on your side to fight against it. So when I hear things like when Ken talks about the puppetry, and I know he's a puppet, but I'm not assigning that meaning to what good puppetry like this or someone like Rocky from Project Hail Mary can do, when it's not just CGI, that I'm like, okay, then I need to withdraw some of my criticisms and take in that point because I know internally when I'm hearing it that is something positive. So that's why I appreciate when we're coming combative with each other, that we're still learning from each other in terms of, okay, maybe I'm
sure.
viewing things from the wrong way, or there's new perspectives that I haven't thought about that I can use to rehash how I'm internalizing the story.
Yeah, I just think in general, you're like in most things, you're a deep thinker, a feeler, a lover. You think about these things on such like, intense spectrums. And sometimes with something like this, it's just good to go in with no expectations, have some fun, and not think too much about it, for this
Yeah, and
project.
I guess
If we're
it's
talking about Andor or talking about
mhm.
Rogue One, then absolutely we need to
My
have
two favorite
probably.
properties. My
Yeah,
literal two favorite properties.
that would make
Yes. Like
sense. I love them too.
you,
There's just a
you
time and
sit there.
place
Yeah.
for everything, I think. Like Ken
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
Let's
saying.
just say you sit there on Rogue One and you watch that sunset as they're about to be like gone off this universe. Like that to me is so powerful.
Yeah.
Or you sit there
No,
with
that's great.
Andor and like I have a YouTube playlist with just one video on it, and it's Luthen talking about sacrifice. And I will
Yeah.
replay that from time to time because that speech, oh,
Yeah.
speech is incredible. Beyond Star Wars, like those things have so much more meaning to me. So sometimes I can get lost in what certain meanings are. So when something comes in
Wanting
front of
that
me
out of
that's
every
new and
movie. Yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah.
match up with what I've experienced before, I might have a huge disassociation that maybe is a me problem potentially.
Andor is such a different beast too for all those reasons, but it also introduces you
Yeah.
to new characters. Like Luthen is a heavyweight character. You could argue he's Palpatine equivalent for like, which
The
essentially I guess is
Resistance.
the resistance at that
Yeah.
point. Yeah. So whereas like in this, like they don't introduce any new big characters. It
Hmm.
really is just like Dom said, like you really show up to have a good time. And on top of that too, like I mentioned in my review, uh,
Yeah.
I thought the promotion gave you that. Not you personally, I mean like us. Like I thought the promotion gave us that. Like I never thought that I was getting any more than what I got based on the trailers.
Yeah. And I kind of want to just like, I don't feel like there's a lot of expectations I have going in. It's just I've already assigned meetings to these characters, to some of these characters, to obviously the not the civilizations, the species that they come on. So then when there's something that flips it for me, it's not that I'm expecting that, but that's how I'm internalizing it in the moment. Because I try and come in with an open mind, and that's why I like talk about is like, okay, well, I'm hearing these different things from you guys. I'm like that's something that I'm like, yeah, that I gotta kind of adjust how I'm internalizing this initially. Um, so that I can, yeah, it's not just, I'm not just going to stick in the ground and just completely defend my side without taking in that new information, without taking in the way that you guys have processed things, because it's super important to me. And that's why I appreciate like going, I love going toe to toe on this stuff. So yeah, it's great. It's beautiful.
The critic
Um,
scores were pretty good for the movie too, right? Rotten Tomatoes had it at an 86 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think like what's
Seems
also
fair.
like, yeah, and the cinema score, which represents the casual moviegoer, was an A minus, which is like really strong. Because I mean, the film critics can get like a bit snobby, I think, with something like this. Whereas I think
Yeah.
like Tom, like you and I are saying, like
me.
just go in and just have a good time, and they're like overly critical.
Yeah.
But yeah, the cinema score was strong, so people are having a good time. You know, they're
My
enjoying
theater
it.
Yeah,
was
and
full
it's yeah,
too.
the
I
specific
think
sense.
they're
Yeah,
gonna make a lot
yeah.
of
My
money.
theater
My
was
my
full.
theater was packed. Yeah.
People were clapping. And yeah, like I guess too. Then this kind of goes back another like amazing scene that once again is like the we call them fricks, right, Dom? Little fricks
Bob,
and keto over here.
yeah,
I
because of
love,
Baba Frick, yeah.
yeah, I love
Yeah.
how you can barely understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
But then
saying?
you'll
Like you can
get out
barely
like a
understand it, but it's
little
so sweet.
word every now and
Yeah.
then. They're
Like in
hilarious.
the oh man, you know, another low key like favorite scene is like when the strike squadron comes in and they're all taking out like buildings, towers, turrets, and they come in and take out the little lizard that Grogu had blinded before.
Yeah, just a
Absolutely
little
hilarious.
detail. Yeah.
Absolutely hilarious. Like I
Or
love that stuff. So
or
hmm?
when Mando goes back to their ship, he's like, "Oh, you guys rescued me," and he goes back to their ship, and he's like, "Fuck, man, I ain't fitting in there."
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
fucking hilarious, dude. I
But
love how
yeah,
it's so small. Like they're like master mechanics to make something that small that can
yeah,
travel at the
yeah.
speed of light. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, too, and it kind of it plays into when Mando had talked about with taking out everything that was dead weight within the ship, and then
Yeah,
um yeah, like seeing them like at their work, like it's super cool, like to see those yeah, because
the new Razor
as
Crest
we
was
know, like
badass
with
too.
Ant-Man being small and being able to like obviously get into spaces and adjust things is very helpful. So
Yeah.
yeah, shouts
Yeah, Grogu,
to those guys.
Grogu pulled a little Ant-Man when he went inside the big astromech droid and was ripping the cords out. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a little Ant-Man callback. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm. Too. Oh yeah, and another thing that uh Last of Us fans like as excuse me as the Last of Us fan um that I really appreciated is when he has his I don't know why you have fucking bolt action laser beam rifle. I don't know how the fuck that shit works. But when he's sitting there and he's taking those shots, it reminded me in The Last of Us when he was defending Ellie in the clock tower and then the tower with the sniper rifle. He's pulling back, he's taking out like that was a good shot. I don't know if that was done intentionally, but I immediately thought of that scene from Last of Us. So like that stuff, yeah, is super cool. And then like to your point, Dom, I think like the final thing that I want to say is like at the very end when Rada talks about like uh Grogu and Mandalorian's connection as a father and a child. That's exactly it, right? And that's someone I cannot appreciate as a non-father right now, but something you can 100% appreciate. Like, or I saw a little bit of there, but you understand that from such a deeper level than I do as a parent. So like that stuff,
it's
yeah,
great.
is
Yeah,
is really
it's
cool.
seeing it with my daughter, who's now God going to be 13 in October. You know,
Mhm.
she can have thoughts on the movie, and she can break down things, and she can give her score, and just seeing these things with her was great. And I told her to come on the pod and give her score in best scene,
Mhm.
but she was too shy. She didn't want to do it. But I
Oh,
was
that's
trying to
cool.
convince her
That's
to come
cool.
on and do a cameo.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many interesting things that that like as working with kindergartners where I'm sitting there and trying to like talk to a student about what's not appropriate to do. And one of the other students just like totally is right. And they go, Mr. Josh, he's thinking. Like I've said it too fast again, where I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, like that's not the right thing to say to another student. Do you understand me? Like, can you hear what I'm saying? And the other student's like, Mr. Josh, he's thinking. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Needs a second.
you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So yeah, those respect to that stuff. Um, anything else from you two? You got
Yeah.
something, Ken?
So
Go ahead.
this is a two-part question. So Dom, one for
Yeah.
you, and then one for Josh, one for you. What would you say was the most dangerous situation that Mandalorian was in, Dom, for you, and then Drone for you? Because Dom, I don't know, like if you ever got a chance to watch this movie. Mandalorian was in a lot of dangerous situations in this movie, as I feel like Predator was in Badlands. So, Jerome, I just want to know, like, from your perspective, which character was more impressive for you, far as like all how they were able to get out of all of their dangerous situations?
Um, I feel like Predator, like, I don't know, the stakes on that world as like something that like even his father and all the other predators stray away from on that planet, leads to the like everything just will kill you. And the way that they set up like things killing each other in succession. Um, and what you wouldn't expect is like defense mechanisms, stuff like that, or like even the grass. The grass just being deadly because it's razor sharp and feeling like made of metal was really good. And but to Mandalorian's point, like I don't know, yeah, his skill set and his ability to move about like a fight scene with many different combatants surrounding him is like amazing.
I still, in the great brought up a good point yesterday. Like Predator, like did all that without all of his main gear and was able to actually
Yeah,
like get through that movie. Whereas Mandalorian had basically his best guard
he's
gear.
reliant on his
Or
gear.
yeah,
Yes.
and he's like I said earlier, he's incredibly impressive. I mean, I'd
Yeah.
say like the situation with the dragon snake, like I mean, for him to get out of that, like I mean, the armor was just going to sink his ass to the to the bottom. So I mean, that was impressive. But I still would give it to Predator, just like you and the great said as well when I talked to him yesterday about it. What about you, Dom? What was the toughest
Um,
situation that Mando got out of?
yeah, I haven't seen Predator, so I can't compare, but
No
definitely
problem.
you definitely spend like the late second half and then into the third act, and Mando's in trouble for most of that time period. I mean, from when he gets thrown into the pit there underneath the huts, I mean, he doesn't have his helmet for the first half of that. And he's heavy in his Beskar armor, trying to wade in this water. And he's got to fight off the first wave of those kind of three attacking
That
water
was
lizard
expensive.
type things, which,
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, even surviving those was, was difficult. And then after that, then the dragon snake comes, and the fact that he got very lucky that he was able to find a sword in there that could really bail him out of most of the situations. He did a good job, like using the roots around the water to maneuver himself, to block, to shield. And then when he climbed up to the top to kind of deliver a good blow to the dragon snake, that was good. And then I don't know if he survives, though, if Grogu doesn't come and blow that hole open for him. So it was getting dicey for him for sure. I was scared for him, and then you're not sure if he's ever going to recover from that poison, after he gets out, and he's got to fight, he's got to gun down everybody chasing him outside
Mhm.
of the
Yes.
palace now. And he's, poisoned at the same time,
Yeah.
and you spend this whole time period
Yeah.
just worried for him. Is he going to make
Yeah.
it out? Is he sacrificing himself? The score that comes in when he kind of says, "Get out of here, Grogu," and runs away to cause a distraction and take out more guys so that they can get away. The score that comes in there isn't like this like action packed score. It's more of like a somber
Yeah.
type theme. It evokes an emotion out of you that kind of you're unsure if he's going to make it out of this situation. And he was paralyzed for days, and Grogu had to hide him and take care of him, and till eventually they were able to revive him. But yeah, you're worried for him for a large portion of the movie for sure.
Well said, Dom.
But yeah, I think with that, I appreciate you guys battling with me. Like, I love that we've gotten to this point where we can kind of go over these things and go at each other and still appreciate the other sides of the argument. I feel like, for a little bit from our background, the way that we've built up um, our speaking skills, our discussion skills is through the years and years that we've been doing this, where I feel like initially we're all in that we can all get stuck, and even after doing it for so long, we can all get stuck in defending ourselves and not taking any new information in, because we're just so heavy into defending ourselves and towards that bias. So I just appreciate you guys for like how far we've come to still do that, but still be able to take in new information from each other as we compete with one another on whose point is right and stuff like that. So thank you guys. To
It's a, yeah,
our
I mean, like to
Go ahead.
that point, I think it's all just about effectively articulating why you feel the way that you feel, which I feel like we all do. So then after that, it's really just about, listening to each other's perspectives and then growth from there. So yeah, I
Yeah.
second everything you said, Josh.
Years of
Yeah.
practice at the hub for the premiere squad at the Mira
Shout
Mesa
out.
Regal for sure.
Yes, sir. Shout out Regal Mira Mesa. With that, guys, we appreciate you for joining us here today. Please consider subscribing, liking the video. Please leave your comment if I'm complete batshit crazy and we need more people on Dom's side to talk my ass down so I can finally make some positive change in my life. But yeah, thank you guys. We will see you in the next one. Later.